Good morning. Today is Tuesday. Tuesday is governed by Mars, and I am the Moon Mama. How are you all doing today? Today is the first day in 5 days that I have not been parenting. My son, he's an Aquarius, and he lives with his father, and he lives with me. He's with me every other weekend and on Wednesdays, and he's with his father all the rest of the time. And when I first started this agreement where my son was going to be with his father more, it nearly derailed me because I was like, who am I going to be if I'm not a mother? Like, what am I going to do without, you know, like I realized that so much of my energy was going into just thinking about him and caring for him and making sure that, he had everything he needed. And it was becoming so challenging that I sort of fell into a depression. And his father one day came to me and said, look, you're not okay. You're not yourself. And so you should let me take him. And so I started sharing this for a reason, because Mars is the day that governs Tuesday. Mars is our outer reality, our actions. It's literally what we have, how we relate to the outer reality, to our outer experience. And Mars is currently in Aquarius, and Aquarius is this innovation, doing things in a new way. And so when my son's father came to me and said, you're not yourself, and basically we need to do this in a new way. We need to take on a new innovative way of parenting so that everyone is going to be well here, and that is including you. And he said, let me take Zion, let me take our son. It took me an entire year to say yes. But when I did, it was the best thing that ever happened to me. And so it allowed me to have the space to go back to work, to think innovatively, to create courses, and to know that while I was doing all these things, my son is safe. Like, that was the most difficult thing, like really understanding that my son can be cared for and be safe and well, even if I'm not the person doing it. And so, Mars in Aquarius is this opportunity right now. We are moving into the age of Aquarius. We are watching our current constructs break down. We're watching the ways that we've been doing things totally come undone, dissolve before our eyes, collapse, right? And I know, the thing that I realized before I got to where I am now is that it created like a depression and a despair inside of me. And in order to take on something new, like it's like you start to realize that what you're doing just doesn't feel good anymore, that you're like, and you're scrambling and it doesn't, and you're like, okay, I'll do it this way, and then that might work for a little while and then it goes away. Or I'll do this and then that might work and then it goes away, but you know that you've kind of come to an end of a cycle inside of you, and there's no putting it back together, there's no making it fit. And so it's time to do something different. And that's the experience I had with my son and his father. He was just like, this is not working for you. And if it's not working for you, it's not working for any of us. So we have to do it differently. And and that meant like engaging our family and asking them for their support, and asking them for their support emotionally, especially, just because I needed to feel safe in order to let my son go. Like, I needed to feel safe, like I wasn't going to be judging myself, like I wasn't going to be condemning myself, like I wasn't going to feel like I was a bad mother. And the evidence was that my son started to really flourish even more when he went to go live with his father. It was so funny when I would pick him up sometimes to like bring him home with me just on the weekends after we got a new schedule. And I would go pick him up, and my son would be in the back seat silent, and then and I would turn around and look at him and he'd be crying like this, just no sound, face full of tears, and he just never really wanted to leave his father. And it made me feel like, even though there was a part of me that had to really work through some levels of guilt, I knew oh, if he doesn't want to leave his father, then he's okay. Right? And I just didn't take it personally. I just was like, I'm going to take this time and allow them to bond and to trust that his love for his father and his connection to his father is the medicine I need to be able to go out into the world and do what I do. And so I encourage you guys, the moon is in Cancer. The moon is at the 1st degree of Cancer. The Cancer moon is about your emotions and your feelings. And the thing you got to do is feel them. What happens is when we feel ourselves coming to the end of a cycle, and if we've not set ourselves up appropriately to take the next step, we start to suppress our feelings. We start to, I know I've been in a relationship before where I know the relationship is over and I'm like, this relationship is over, but I'm not ready to deal with the loneliness, or I'm not ready to deal with how I'm going to now deal with my finances without this person. And so we'll suppress what's coming up. We'll suppress the feelings, but the Mars is in Aquarius, so you no longer need to suppress the feelings. Feel your feelings, because Mars in Aquarius is to help you detach from the old way of being, because Aquarius is about detachment. So you're going to detach from the old way of being, but you have to feel the feelings first. You have to know what they are. You have to examine them. You have to analyze your feelings and trust them. And because Mars in Aquarius requires that you trust that you're being guided and directed, and that you create a system so that you can allow yourself to trust yourself. I mean, this is rigorous work we're doing. And this is also rubber meet the road. Whenever there's a crisis, whenever I've had a crisis in my life, and I have had so many freaking crises, I know that a crisis comes in order to force me to grow. That's what crisis is. It's like you no longer get to think about this. You no longer get to wonder or have a fantasy. The shit is happening. What are you going to do? The rubber is hitting the road. Now, Mars is in Aquarius, so we have everything we need in order to take us to the next step. But we just have to be willing to face our fears and do something different. You have to be willing to do something different. You don't have a choice. So, feel your feelings with this the moon in Cancer. Feel your feelings. Trust them, and then ask, what else can I do? What else is available here? And know that you are going to be uncomfortable. That is a part of it. Being uncomfortable is a part of the process, but that is good, because when you're in the uncertainty and the unknown, new ideas, new possibilities will come to you if you are willing and open and receptive to them. And my example of me being willing to give up my son, and I was giving him up to his father. It wasn't like I was giving him up to somebody who was a stranger. I was giving him up to somebody who cares about him and has his best interest at heart. But that whole motherhood thing was a really tough thing for me to come out of. Like, what does it mean to be a mother, and how can I mother in a new way, in an innovative way? And so I would do research on other cultures and how other cultures raise boys and all these sort of things, just to sort of help myself make peace with the choice that I was making. And it's been the best choice for my son, for his father, for our entire community. And, I have a child who now is really flourishing and doing well, when the doctor said that we couldn't do this and that he wouldn't read and he wouldn't do this and all these things that he wouldn't do, he's actually doing. So I encourage you to have the courage, because the sun is in Aries. The sun is in Aries. Have the courage to feel your feelings, and have the courage to listen to them and tell them where you need to go. And if they're telling you to let go of something, do it. Do it. Ask how, and then do it. Okay, I'm the Moon Mama. This is my Jicama diamond. It helps me connect into my higher frequencies. I love this stuff so much. Okay, I hope you guys are well. Peace and blessings. Bye-bye.